Good to see you. Defending is one way to put it. I prefer analyzing the inevitable.
Inevitable, with the Nobel Peace Prize going to Nihon Hidankyo recently, the world is crying out for abolition, not modernization.
I respect the Hidankyo, truly. But look at the 2025 data. China has hit 600 warheads. Russia is expanding its tactical arsenal. Disarmament is currently a strategic fantasy.
It's only a fantasy because people like you prioritize stability over humanity.
Stability is the humanitarian choice. Total war between major powers would dwarf the tragedies of the 20th century.
You're clinging to a Cold War binary. We are now in a three-body problem with the US, Russia, and China. It's inherently unstable.
Exactly. That's why we're shifting to integrated deterrence, linking nuclear, cyber, and conventional power to prevent any one actor from miscalculating.
Integrated just means entangled. You're making it easier for a small conflict to escalate into a global inferno.
On the contrary, it makes the cost of aggression clear at every level.
Tell that to the people in proxy wars. Your long peace is built on the graves of the global south.
And a global nuclear war would leave no one to dig those graves. It's a tragic trade-off, but a rational one.
Rationality is a myth, John. The madman theory is back in vogue. Can you trust a populist leader with the football?
I trust the bureaucracy of the state. Even the most impulsive leader is surrounded by a structure designed for survival.
That structure failed in 1962. It failed in 1983. We are living on borrowed time.
We have better sensors and communication now. The hotline isn't a phone anymore, it's a direct digital link.
Which can be hacked, which can be spoofed.
We invest billions in hardening those systems. Cybersecurity is now a nuclear priority.
You're building a more complex machine, which means more ways for it to break.
A simple machine in a complex world is even more dangerous.
Let's talk about AI. The 2025 research shows AI-integrated early warning systems reduce decision time to minutes.
AI helps filter out false positives. It prevents human panic from seeing a flock of birds as a missile.
Or it creates a flash war where algorithms escalate faster than any diplomat can speak.
That's why we advocate for human in the loop, no autonomous nuclear launches.
But in a crisis, if your enemy's AI is faster, you'll be forced to automate to survive. It's a race to the bottom of the abyss.
We are developing norms for AI in the nuclear domain right now. Even adversaries want to avoid accidental launch.
Norms? Putin and Xi aren't interested in your liberal rules-based order anymore. They see nukes as tools of coercion.
Which is why we must maintain a credible deterrent. If they think we are afraid to use them, the deterrent fails.
That's the credibility trap. You have to pretend to be willing to commit suicide to prevent murder.
It's not a pretense, it's a commitment. That commitment is the only thing that keeps the border of NATO secure.
It's a 20th century solution to a 21st century problem. We should be talking about human security, not state security.
Human security is impossible without state security. Look at the chaos in regions where the state fails.
The state is the threat when it holds the power to vaporize a city in seconds.
The threat is the intent, not the weapon. A world without nukes would just see a return to the firebombing of Dresden.
We have the TPNW now. 100+ nations agree nuclear weapons are illegal.
An illegal weapon that prevents a world war is a legalistic paradox.
It's about stigmatization. We make it politically impossible to even threaten their use.
Stigma doesn't stop an autocrat who feels his regime is ending. Only a counter-threat does.
You think fear is the only language.
In international relations, it's the only language that needs no translator.
The new US administration's nuclear energy promotion executive orders, that's just a front for expanding the industrial base for warheads, isn't it?
It's about energy independence and maintaining a technological lead. If we don't lead in nuclear tech, China will.
It's a conservative fantasy of the 1950s. We should be investing in renewables, not revitalizing the atomic age.
You can't run a military-industrial base on solar panels alone, Emma. Not if you want to be a superpower.
Superpower is a hollow title if the planet is dying. The opportunity cost of nuclear maintenance is trillions of dollars.
That money is the insurance premium for global peace.
Peace for whom? Not for the children in the Pacific still suffering from the fallout of past tests.
We've ended atmospheric testing. The environmental impact is now minimal compared to conventional pollution.
Minimal until the first exchange. One limited nuclear war between India and Pakistan would cause a global famine.
Which is why the U.S. acts as a mediator there. Our nuclear status gives us the weight to force them to the table.
You're using a flamethrower to keep people from lighting matches.
If it works, it works.
It's toxic masculinity on a planetary scale, the obsession with strength and domination.
It's not about masculinity, it's about biology. Every species defends its territory with the best tools available.
Humans are the only species that builds tools to destroy its own habitat. That's a flaw, not a strategy.
It's a flaw we have to manage, not ignore.
We manage it by delegitimizing the weapons. The liberal path is diplomacy and international law.
Diplomacy without a sword is just a polite way of surrendering.
Diplomacy is the sword. Look at the Iran deal before it was sabotaged.
The Iran deal failed because it didn't account for Iran's conventional aggression. You can't isolate the nuclear issue from the rest of reality.
In 2025, we are seeing adversarial cooperation between Russia, China, and North Korea. Your deterrence is failing to stop it.
It's not failing, it's being tested. Our response is extended deterrence, reassuring Japan and South Korea so they don't build their own nukes.
But that just creates a nuclear cascade. If we keep moving warheads into the Indo-Pacific, China will just build more.
They're already building more. Their silo fields in the desert weren't a response to us, they were a bid for hegemony.
So the answer is a new arms race? SIPRI says the year-on-year decrease is officially over.
We're entering the third nuclear age. It's about quality, not just quantity, precision, speed, and survivability.
And nuclear ethics? Where does that fit in your third age?
The ethic is simple. Do not be the one to let the shield drop.
That's a coward's ethic. The brave choice is to trust.
Trust is a luxury in a world where your opponent views it as a weakness.
You sound like a textbook from the 80s, John.
And you sound like a protest song from the 60s. But look around. The 80s are back.
Because we let them come back. We didn't seize the peace dividend after the Cold War.
We did. We cut thousands of warheads, but we forgot that history doesn't end.
History is what we make it. We made the nuclear taboo. We can make the nuclear ban.
The taboo only exists because the weapons are so powerful they're unusable. Disarm and you make war usable again.
So you want to keep the world terrified forever?
I want to keep the world alive forever. Terror is a small price to pay for existence.
Existence without hope is just a slow death.
Hope is not a strategy.
You know, I visited the Hiroshima Peace Museum last month.
I've been there too. It's haunting.
It's not just haunting, it's a warning from the future. If we don't change, that museum will be the whole world.
I agree, but my way to prevent that is to ensure no one thinks they can win a nuclear war.
My way is to ensure no one can start one.
We're both trying to prevent the same thing, Emma. We just have different fears.
You fear the enemy. I fear the machine.
And I fear the vacuum that happens when the machine is gone.
Maybe the vacuum is where the human finally has room to breathe.
Or where the beast finally has room to hunt.
We really are the same as we were in college, aren't we?
Only with better titles and worse knees.
I'm not giving up, John. Tomorrow, my NGO is presenting a paper on alternative security to the UN.
And tomorrow, I'm finalizing a report on counterforce capabilities.
Promise me one thing.
What?
Just, if you ever get into the room where the decisions are made, remember the data has faces.
I promise. And you, remember that the peace you love is being guarded by men you hate.
I don't hate you, John. I hate the world you think is necessary.
Fair enough. Let's get that drink. I'm buying. Call it a peace offering.